Hi guys, welcome to Jump. It is actually Mother's Day. I'm so excited to have you guys here with me today. I hope you spent some time celebrating your moms. As you can see, I am outside and it is a little chilly right now, to be honest. It's sunny and the sky is beautiful and blue and there are clouds. I'm going to see if you can see that. I'm going to tip it up. Oh, there they are. You can see the beautiful blue clouds, but I'm cold. And so, I want to introduce our lesson for today. I'm so excited because we're going to do something with fire. We're going to be playing with fire. Yay! Okay, but disclaimer, fire is dangerous. You can hurt yourself. You should not do this at home. You should not do this without supervision. You should never try this on your own. I am a professional. At least a professional children's director. I have looked up the directions online. I am taking all the safety precautions today, and I do not recommend that you try this at home. However, I am super excited to show you this demo. Today we are talking about Moses and the burning bush because we're going back to the Old Testament and we're going to study some of the Old Testament characters. So last week was Joseph. This week is Moses. And so we're going to read that in our Action Bible Devotional. So grab that so you can have that nearby to use it when we get ready to read it. We are also going to be looking up the same story in our Adventure Bible or any Bible you have nearby. You can even look it up online if you have a phone or a tablet or a computer. But we're going to be reading the story out of the Bible, and I really want you guys to have a Bible nearby because we're practicing looking up our verses in the Bible. Make sure you have this Bible. And I think that's all you guys need for today. Nothing else besides your beautiful faces. When we move into Zoom later today, we're going to do a special project together for our mothers. So shh, keep that a secret. Mothers, you didn't hear that. We're not doing a special project for mothers. No, I didn't say anything. I don't know what I was talking about. It's just shh. We're doing a special project for mothers later when we go to the Zoom meeting at 6:45. Okay, so I also want to show you this as I lean down. This is the beginnings of our burning bush. Dun, dun, dun. This is copper wire that I twisted together to make a form for our burning bush. And the next step is going to be wrapping the burning bush with some really fine grade steel wool. So let me go get the steel wool and I'll get to wrapping. All right, guys, I took my glasses off and I actually can't find them, which is so funny because this happens to me constantly. I take my glasses off and I'm like, where did I put those? Oh, I think they're in my pocket. That's why I'm looking around. I took them off because, as you guys know, it's hard for me to read with my glasses on and I'm in the shade, so it's not too sunny. But we are going to start reading from our Action Bible Devotional. And we are starting to read on page 51, and it's called A Burning Bush. Remember, this is the story of Moses. And in this, Moses faces some fears, but God encourages him and speaks to him through this burning bush. So let's read. It says, A burning bush, based on Exodus chapter 2, verses 21 through chapter 4, verses 17. I'm trying to get to where you can see. There you go. Gershom handles his sling very well. This guy right here. And this one says, he'll make a good shepherd like his father. And then this says, Moses stays weeks and then months, and then he marries Zipporah, and they have 2 sons. So, backstory to this story, remember Moses was actually in Egypt, and he was living in Egypt, and he was actually living, I believe, in the Pharaoh's castle or in the Pharaoh's palace, but he got really upset with the way that the Israelites were being treated and with the way that the king was treating the Israelites. And so he ran away into the wilderness, and he actually got into some trouble once again. And so he ran away so that he wouldn't get thrown into jail. And so, so that is how Moses ended up in the wilderness. And he ended up getting married there and having a family out there in the wilderness and living a lot of his life out there. But then God calls him back to Egypt. And that is what this story is about. So it says, Moses works as a shepherd for his father-in-law for 40 years. Year after year, the flocks of Jethro increase. But one year, the grasses dry up, and Moses leads his sheep to pastures near the mountain of Sinai. Can you see that? This is Moses leading his sheep up to the pastures. And then it says, how am I going to get you guys to see this? What if I go this way? There we go. But even after all these years, Moses cannot forget the Hebrew people in Egypt. So he's thinking about the Israelites, the Hebrew people in Egypt. And he says this, he says, I wonder if Pharaoh is still alive, and what has become of my sister Miriam and my brother Aaron? Right there. So while he's up there tending the flocks of his father-in-law, he's thinking about his friends back in Egypt. And it says, Moses wonders, too, about the Hebrew slaves still struggling under the whips of Egyptian rulers. One day he looks up to see a strange sight on Mount Sinai. It's a bush on fire. A bush on fire, yet it's not burning up. That's what Moses says. He steps closer and then stops. A voice from the fiery bush calls out, Moses. You think that's what God sounds like? Moses. Maybe he sounds like, Moses, Moses. I don't know. I have never heard God's voice in that way, but Moses is lucky enough to get to. When I hear God's voice, it's kind of like a quiet whisper in my head, so I haven't heard it out loud like that. And right here it says, Moses says, I'm here. Once again, Moses starts towards the bush, but the same voice warns him, don't come any nearer. Take off your shoes because you are standing on holy ground. So there's this bush burning up. God's talking to him. And we're going to go down to this one. And look, Moses takes off his shoes. And then it says, and then God says to Moses, I am the God of your father and the God of your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's like, what? What is going on? Look at his face. And then up at the top, if I go this way a little bit, Moses hides his face in fear at being addressed by the one true God. This is what God says. I have seen my people suffer in Egypt, and I have come down to save them. I want you to bring them out of that land. Then you will lead them to a new home, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh. Well, that must be scary. And then Moses down here, yeah, he's getting a little frightened. Well, but what? Who am I to speak to Pharaoh of Egypt? Who am I to lead the Hebrews? I am not a leader. God says, I am your leader, and I am with you. Believe me that you and the Israelites will come to worship me on this very mountain. And then Moses makes up another excuse in this picture. See? He says, but I'm not a prophet or a priest. What if they ask me your name? And God says, I am who I am, and I will perform my wonders against the Egyptians. And then Moses, again, he's like, but what if they don't believe me? And God says, throw your staff on the ground. Moses' staff immediately turns into a venomous snake, and he runs in terror. God is proving that he is God to Moses. He's saying, hey, Moses, I'm God. I got this. I just ask you to do your part. I'm with you. I'm before you. I am who I am. Just want you to do your part, the part I've asked you to do. Then, you can see right there, God calls Moses to come back. Then he tells Moses to pick up the snake. Trembling at the power of God, Moses obeys. And then what happens next? Look what's in his hand. The Lord has given Moses the power to do this miracle and 2 others so he can make the people believe. Still, Moses is afraid. I am not a good speaker. I can't do this job. He's still afraid, even after all God has done to prove to him that he's God. He is the great I am. He is the God of Moses' ancestors. He is the one true God. And so it says, but God is tired of Moses' excuses. I made your mouth, didn't I? I can make you speak with it too. But very well, I am sending your brother Aaron to meet you. I will help you both speak. Now go. Go, Moses, go. Sounds like something Jesus told to us too, right? Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teach them all I have commanded. For I am, that's what Jesus said, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. It's exactly what Jesus said. God said go, Jesus said go. It's probably because they're the same person. Probably. So, our key verse for today is from Exodus chapter 4, verse 12, and it says, now go, and I will help you speak, and will teach you what to say. And that's at the top of this page. See our key verses? Right there? Yep. I am going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Okay, now guys, we are going to read X-ray vision. It's the second part right here. There will be some questions in here that I have for you guys. So let's go ahead and get our books ready and get our fingers ready, because there will be questions on our screen that you can interact with the video, and you can answer them by clicking on your answer on the screen. So my first question is this. This story comes from Exodus. So we've got Genesis, and then the next book is, which one is it? That's right, it's Exodus. So Exodus is the second book of the Bible, the second book of the Old Testament. And so let's read X-ray vision. It's the last thing on earth you want to do. You know the dread. Each shoe feels like 2 tons as you plod to your fate. You'd give $1 million, or even your entire collection of pressed pennies, to get out of having to do this one thing, whatever thing it is that you don't want to do. That's how Moses must have felt. So in the comments below, I want you to tell us one thing that you dread doing, because you're afraid to do it, you just dread it, you know you're not going to be good at it. In the comments, either below or to the side, type and tell us what is one thing you dread doing. This is how Moses must have felt. Egypt was the last place he wanted to go. He'd spent 40 years hiding out from the land of pyramids. Remember I told you he ran away? He'd built a whole new life and a family. He thought he had escaped his past in Egypt. Then out of the blue, God showed up in a burning bush. Moses gave his best excuses, but his weaknesses didn't matter. God knew his own strength. It was time for Moses to face his fears. The time has come for us to face our fears too. What are yours? So remember, if you haven't told us yet, tell us what your fears are. The best thing Moses had going for him was God's help. God promised to give him everything he needed. Miracles. Remember, he even showed him the miracle of the staff turning into a snake. The right words, and even his brother to help him. Do you guys remember the name of Moses' brother? If you do, why don't you tell me what his name was in the comments? And I will tell you back whether you're right or not. So he gave him his brother. Moses had to just go and do what God showed him. It works the same for you. God is way bigger than your fears. He's bigger than my fears too. He's bigger than your parents' fears. He's bigger than your brothers and sisters' fears. He's bigger than pastors' fears. God is bigger. And he's promised to always be with you. He's promised to always be with all of us. And then it says, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? There's nothing to fear because God is with you. That doesn't mean we're not afraid. But if we think about it, we know God is with us. He is the all-powerful God. He is the great I am. He is the creator of everything we see, and everything we have because of him. There is no reason to fear. He loves us too. He didn't just create us just 'cause. He created us and he loves us. And he proved that when he sent his son Jesus to die on the cross for us. He's given us everything, including his own son, including his own life. So what is there to fear? I don't know. So our mission this week. I want you guys to tell me on the screen which of these you plan to do. The first one that you could choose from is to sculpt a creature out of clay to represent your fears. You could do it out of clay, you could do it out of Play-Doh, you could do it out of moon sand. Sculpt something. Ooh, you could even do it out of paper. Sculpt something to represent your fears. Then pick up a rock that shows God's strength and smash that fear creature as flat as a pancake. Now, make sure you ask mom and dad for permission before you go outside. And if you don't have a rock, just use your fist. This shows God's strength, and we're going to smash that fear creature as flat as a pancake. So that's number one. Number two is you can make yourself a necklace or a bracelet to remind you that God is with you always. And, you can do that out of string. You can use beads. You can even use a piece of paper that you write God is with you on it, and decorate it and tape the two ends together, and then you have a bracelet. It would look kind of like my rubber bracelet here. Or if you have an old rubber bracelet, you could decorate it with permanent markers. That would be cool too. Number three, list the three things you've been afraid of doing. Then go ahead and try to do one of them this week. That's a big challenge. Go ahead and try to do one this week. Which one are you going to do? Tell us all by choosing yours on the screen. Now it is time for our debrief. This is where we think a little deeper about what we've been talking about. So let's think about this and talk about it in the comments. You guys can type your answers in the comments. Number one, what have your parents been encouraging you to try? I can give you an example from our lives. I have been encouraging Abby to try out for the talent show at school. And that scares her because she's scared that she won't get in. But that's okay, because it's important just to try. Now, if this were a Moses situation, we would say, that's okay because God is going before you and he has a plan and he's called you to do it and he's going to be there with you and he's going to help you succeed. For Abby, we're just asking her to try to do her best to honor God and do her best no matter whether she gets in or not, because God does have a plan. We know that. And God is for us and he's not against us. And we just have to go out there and do our best. Just try our best and use our talents to the best of our abilities to honor him. So that's the first question. What have your parents been encouraging you to try? Number two, have you ever felt like God has been calling you to do something, but you've been afraid. Calling you to do something, but you've been afraid. Has God been calling you to sing and dance on stage at church? Has God been calling you to write a letter to a friend or draw a picture to tell others about Him? Maybe it's a specific friend that you know doesn't know about God and you're afraid to talk to that friend about God. Has God been calling you to get up on a stage? Has God been calling you to try and write a story, or try a new instrument, or try a new sport? What do you think God has been calling you to do, but you're feeling too afraid to try it? You can tell us in the comments. You can type your little comment in, type it in, and I will be there to read it. We will be there to support you. Number 3, what have you dreamed about but been scared to go for? What have you dreamed about in your heart but been scared to go for? Abby's example is good. This is good. What have you dreamed about? Because she's scared to try out and not get in. But we should still always try and just do our best. Have you dreamed about trying out for a talent show? Have you dreamed about running in a race? Have you dreamed about trying out for a sports team? Have you dreamed about trying to do a cartwheel? If I tried to do that, I would fall flat on my face. It would be very silly. But maybe there's something out there that you've dreamed about that you need to just try, and know that it's okay to try and fail. God is with us to support us, and He will be with us no matter what. Tell us in the comments what you think. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what it is that you've dreamed about but been scared of. Okay guys, remember this? I'm going to wrap it with this. This is steel wool. This is very fine steel wool, and I'm going to wrap this tree with it. So I think we're going to move to a place where you can see me wrapping it, and we're going to get going with the wrap.
Oh yeah, Exodus 3:14. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you.
Right, I think we're ready. Does it look like a bush to you? Kind of looks like a bush to me. Ready to see how this baby burns. I wonder if it's too bright outside. I feel like we should try it anyway. What do you guys think? Maybe we will. Okay. So here is the bush with the steel wool, and JJ has a battery, a 9-volt battery, and he's got an extender on it so that we don't even have to get close to the steel wool. Watch what happens. Do you see that? Can you see the sparks that are starting? Now JJ, start sparks in different areas just for fun, so that it burns more completely all together. It's coming out like it's a welding. It's a burning fiery bush. How fun. That is so cool and so pretty. And I don't know if you guys can see this really well, but the bush is burning up. The steel wool is not burning away. So it's on fire, but it's not burning away. And it's actually changing colors. It's going to a blue color. How cool is that? I would like to try this one more time when it's darker, just to see. So fun.
Did it burn the metal on the bottom as well? Like the roots?
No, nope.
Does it in the story?
Nope. In the story of Moses and the burning bush. The bush is on fire, but it's not burning up. Very cool. There's a little more still on fire on this side. So pretty.
Still on fire on that side as well.
God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Sing it again. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Sing it. I am who I am. God said to Moses, I am who I am. Who God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Sent me to you. Break it down, let me hear your voice. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God said to Moses. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Here we go. I am who I am. God said to Moses, I am who I am. God said to Moses, I am who I am.
Okay, guys, do you remember what book of the Bible the story of Moses is in? It's time for our Bible lookup. Do you remember what book it is in? Is it in Genesis, the story of Moses? Not the one we're reading today. It's in Exodus. And that is the second book of the Bible, so it's pretty easy. Once you pass Genesis, you're going to go to Exodus, Exodus. And we are looking for Exodus chapter 3. Exodus chapter 3, and my Bible actually has it named Moses and the Burning Bush. So my Bible actually has the story titled Moses and the Burning Bush. That's what we're reading today. Exodus chapter 3. You can read some of the early parts of Moses' story in Exodus 2, in Exodus chapters 1 and 2. I'm going to read this to you. Continue to look it up in your Bible so you can find it. Moses and the Burning Bush. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he had led the flock to the far side of the wilderness, and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Horeb, the mountain of God. There an angel of the Lord appeared to him in the flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. Crazy bush. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight. Why the bush does not burn up. It's on fire, but it's not burning to the ground. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. That's probably not how God sounded. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. He was afraid. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned for their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians. and to bring them up out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Okay, one thing I learned about saying names in the Bible is just say them with conviction, like you know that you're saying them right, and people will believe you because that's a lot of hard names to say. Okay, that was just an aside. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. That means treating them badly. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, well, who am I that I should go to the Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? I'm just little old Moses. And God said, I will be with you, and this will be a sign to you that it is I am outside, the wind just closed my, and God said, I will be with you, and this will be a sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your father has sent me, and they ask me, well, what is his name? I mean, like, if we're going to follow God, what's his name? Then what should I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. Those are all names the Israelites would recognize. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. And it goes on a little after that, but I think we're going to stop right there. God said to Moses, I am has sent you. Or say to the people, I am has sent you. And he said, I am who I am. I am who I am. That's why we worship God, because he's the one true God. He is the great I am. There is no other God. He can make bushes burn without burning them up. He can bring the dead back to life. He can give us hope. He can give us peace. He can give us strength and courage. He can take away our fear. And he can be with us even when we are afraid. Our God is good. He is great. So now, guys, I think it is time for us to move into Zoom. So now that it's time to move into Zoom, remember when we're moving into Zoom, you guys will have to transfer over to Zoom. If you don't know how to get into your Zoom, ask Mom and Dad. There should be a link to our Zoom chat room in their email. If it's not, you can also email me at children@christchurchmequon.org, and I will send you that link. We will be in Zoom from about 6:45 until about 7:30 tonight. If you have to leave early, that's okay. We are working on a top secret project. Top secret. Like ninjas, like this. Top secret. So if you have to leave early, let me know so that we can get your part done, okay? And so we're going to be in there from about 6:45 to 6:30. We're going to the Zoom chat room now. I will see you there. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining me here tonight.